This podcast is proud to be part of the Talk Sport Fan Network. Talk Sport. Powered by fans.
Today's episode is proudly sponsored by CarWow. As you can imagine, I'm really into my cars, and the thought of getting a new one fills me with a huge amount of excitement every single time it comes around. But I'm not going to lie to you, there's also a little bit of dread there as well. What if I get it wrong? What if the deal isn't as good as I think it is? Thankfully, when I came to change up what I was driving at the start of this year, CarWow helped me work out what I wanted, find the right place to get it, and most importantly, get myself a great deal. When your life changes, so does your car. And with CarWow, your car changing will be life-changing too. And hey, don't let anyone tell you that being behind the wheel of a fast car isn't a life-changing experience. Buying or selling, CarWow is the free-to-use car-changing destination. They've already helped over 10 million people, including me, navigate the car market. CarWow, here to make your car change life-changing. Car change, CarWow. T's and C's apply. See carwow.co.uk/verify for details.
Yo, UK! At BetMGM, we give our players sports betting entertainment like nobody's business. Football, horse racing, darts, boxing, tennis, golf, NFL, NBA. You name it, we got it. Offers? You know it. Bet £10 and get £40 in free bets. BetMGM, it's showtime.
New customers only. Exclusions apply. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Joining me today is former Birmingham City and Stoke City defender Ian Clarkson.
Hello, Paul.
How are you, mate?
Not bad at all. Or should I call you Gabby? Sorry, mate.
Well, there's many guises that I've got. My old friends know me as Sid, because that was my nickname at school.
Right, okay.
My parents and my family know me as Paul, but more or less everybody in music knows me as Gabby. Going to look at your career and dip in and out of it, and life in it and then life out of it as well, because football players, when they retire, it's a different beast, isn't it? And lots of them do have problems when they have nothing to probably fall back in terms of other jobs.
Yeah, very much so.
And hobbies and recreation.
Yeah. I mean, I think, once you finish playing, nothing is ever as good as playing football. Yeah. And it takes you probably 5 or 6 years to get your head around that. And when I speak to lots of people now still, and people are thinking, well, I'm doing a bit of scouting here, a bit of this, bit of that, but they're not really working, and it's like 12, 15 years on from football. So for me, the biggest, I can understand why people have problems when they stop playing football, because it's a massive legal high. Even if you're playing in front of 1,500 people, you've got 1,500 people every Saturday possibly cheering your name or not, and then all of a sudden you win and you've got that nice legal high, that buzz, you want to get out and about, enjoy yourself, and then all of a sudden after 16 years or 18 years, it's gone.
Now also you've got your training, because you're actually in a bubble as a professional footballer, and these days even more so, I would suggest, with the amount of money that's there. You don't even change your light bulbs or any normal menial job that we do in Civvy Street, do you?
No, everything is done for you. So I mean, I think, as you said, it starts earlier now. So if you sign for an academy at the age of 6 or 7, you'll have a tracksuit, you'll have a bag, you'll have kit, you'll have boots, you'll have all these things. You'll have minibus put on for you, coaches put on for you, you'll have your parents looked after, and all of these things. And as you said, if you go on tour, hand your passport into the secretary, everything's done for you. So that not as you said, none of these menial things like changing light bulbs or such like.
So it's hardly surprising that when that football player or that sports person in any sport packs it in, they almost need reintegration and counselling how to live their life after football, after sport, because it is a short career. We keep hearing that it is a short career. I mean, it's a very, very good career in terms of finance now. Most professional footballers, unlike you in your day, don't need to find a job when they leave football like you did.
They don't, but that could cause a problem to a certain extent, because you've got people with a nice income, a decent house, they don't have to work, and actually, if you finish at 31, 32 or 35, 36, you've got another 35, 40 years of life, and you've got lots of things that you can do, you can explore. But as you said, if people have got no motivation to work, or they can't quite find the right job, then all of a sudden you can get depressed, you can get fed up, you can turn to drink, you can turn to drugs, you can turn to anything that people do, really.
And let's be honest, you've got that finance to help you do that as well.
Pretty much so. Gambling and all sorts of things.
So it can be a downward spiral, couldn't it?
It can be, but on flipping that on the positive, if you've spent half of your money wisely now, your house should be paid for. Yeah. You should have a car. You probably won't need to work for at least 15, 20 years. And actually, you can find something hopefully to do. Yeah. Spend some time with your family.
Yeah. Who was the best player that you played with at
Birmingham?
And against? Also, you can have Stoke City.
Yeah, I would think probably the best. I tell you what, probably the best player I played with at Birmingham on a consistent basis was probably Nigel Gleghorn.
Yeah.
I would suggest. I think he's underrated. He was a great player for me. He was one of them players you could give him the ball anywhere on the pitch, he'd control it, he'd take ownership of it, he could score. Mind you, had a massive head, so you couldn't miss him when you crossed. but he was a really good player, and he was also a leader and a top bloke. He also followed his own path. He didn't follow the crowd. He was a good lad. So for me, I think on a regular basis. I would say people like, I think Simon Sturridge was quality for a couple of seasons. He got injured. He was a really good player. I like Ian Rogerson again. Just give him the ball. Give him the ball. And so there was some good players for me back in the day. Steve Whitten was a really good player as well. He would only played with on a few occasions, but he had real ability. Enjoyed his social life as well, which was good. But he was a really good player. At Stoke, I can say Mark Steen would probably be the best player I played there. He was unbelievable. Just in terms of I was a defender, and I really appreciate strikers scoring goals. And I mean, we beat Man United 2-1 once with Steen. He scored 2 absolute screamers, and it was like out of nothing.
A goal machine, and from a great footballing family as well, the Steens.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. And again, but do you know what? I mean, you hear lots of press about, but 99% of the footballers are absolutely spot on. Yeah. Whether they're earning £8 million a week or £8 a week, most of them are fine. Most of them are good lads.
And going back to Nigel Gleghorn, I absolutely 100% agree with you, because I think with the rebirth, because Birmingham wasn't in the best of states.
Oh no, it had gone. It hit rock bottom. No cash.
Yeah.
No crowds.
Yeah, but the restarts made me laugh. Because Tomo was the goalie.
Yeah.
The restart, he used to, because Gleghorn used to literally, probably on the centre line, didn't he? And he used to aim at Gleghorn's head. Yeah, basically. And that's how we used to restart the game.
Oh, look, as I said, he was a very, very good player. And you spot on what he said. It had reached rock bottom. I think we won that Island half and then got promotion the next year. And then for me, that was when it started again. Yeah. I tell you what, though, some of the games I must have played in, it's like a Sex Pistols concert. I've had about 400,000 people. I was there. I've looked at the attendances, and you were. I don't think you were, kid, but
our attendances were very, very poor. If I remember rightly, the Tilton Road end wasn't open. We mainly stood on the cop in them days, didn't we?
Do you know what? I don't know. I can't actually recall. I mean, I think was it not? I mean, I recall it being open.
So.
I might be wrong, but I recall it being open most of the time. I mean,
there weren't many there. There was only about 5,000 or 6,000 at times, weren't there?
Yeah, I mean, I think according to the season we went up, we were probably getting 15, 16. And I think it was back open again then, because I remember the games against Stoke and West Brom at home and people like that. It was definitely open for those. But there was a spell, I think it was just at the end of Gary's era, when Ken Weldon was still in charge, and I was like a young kid, just finished my apprenticeship, just signed pro, and as you said, that was probably the lowest ever thing then. However, it's got better.
How bad was it when you're saying?
Only because I'm a fan. But
where did you train, for instance, in them days? Well,
it varied. We started at. We used to train at Elmdon.
Yeah.
But it was like as in the old Elmdon part. But it was. I remember for my first day as an apprentice, we turned up and we came to shears, and we were cutting the grass down for 2 weeks. So, it was hardly a well-kept pitch. We'd sometimes train on the ground. We used to train at West Midlands Travel over in Kings Heath. We trained at the Co-op in Bowders Lane, and then eventually it got sold. And I remember a spell when Lou took charge, before we played at Wembley, we used to train at the park at the bottom of St Andrews. Yeah, which is it's called Baines's Bar down there. Whatever it was called, it used to be called Eddie's Bar. Yeah, and we used to call it Dog Shit Bar, because it really was. There was bricks on there. There were people cycling through your training sessions. You can't believe it now. Yeah. If you look back and think, I remember Lou, who loved a run, Lou. We turned up one morning and went, "Oh, guys, I've got the Aston Villa Leisure Centre for you. Run there." So we all ran there, miles away. We got there and he went, "Oh, guess what? It's double booked. You've got to run back." Chick Bates was waiting with him with the car, and he was like that. So we all ran back. So yeah, as you can imagine, then got back to the ground and did an absolute beast of a training session in the afternoon. Hey ho, it was all good fun.
Was it Lou McCarry that took you to Stoke?
It was, yeah. I went there for I think it was 50,000, big money move in about '93. Great, I had fantastic times at Stoke. Good club. It's like Birmingham, really.
Yeah,
it's a proper sort of working class club, and it's great. And I think, obviously it's smaller than Birmingham, but the proportion of people who go and watch is probably in the city is probably bigger. Even though the crowds are about the same, but no, it's a good place. I enjoyed it. I had some great times there. We were that close to getting the Premier League. We lost in the semis of the playoffs against Leicester. Stevie Claridge, that was the year Claridge scored for Leicester in the final, I think, and they beat Palace. Shinned it in, didn't he? But Gary Parker at Norwich Villa scored in the semis, and they beat us 1-0 over 2 legs. But it was good, good times. We had a good team, good hard-working team. I enjoyed all my 3 years there.
Did you play in that game when Birmingham played Stoke, the game that was almost abandoned?
I did. I was playing for Blues at that time. Yeah, when it was about 30 seconds left. He didn't referee again, did he, Roger Wiseman?
No, he didn't.
It's a real shot. Look, I mean, I think there was... I think, to be fair, there was we were 1-up.
Yeah, we were.
I think Stoke, and then I think fair to Mars when he's listening, he probably underhit a back pass to Alan Miller, which caused a 50-50 with, I think, might have been Biggins or something, and I equalised, and it was a fair goal.
Yeah.
But obviously, our lot didn't think so. And then it was on the pitch, wasn't it? And then I remember it was about 45 minutes, we'd all taken our kit off, and then they came back and said we were going to finish the game off. It was surreal. We came back out, nobody in the ground, for 30 seconds, just passed the ball around between ourselves, and that was it. So... yeah, but having said that, after that, I don't think we were lost after that. I think we won 7 on the spin, got promotion, and then obviously fluffed our lines for the title in the last couple of games, but got promotion, so it was good.
Because football and music are very similar. I think everybody that loves football loves music. We all have different tastes. Everybody loves, clothes as well. So, they all go hand in hand. But when you're watching a football team, you want to see that passion, you want to see that energy. Even if you make mistakes, the fans will back you up if they see that you're trying. And you always give 100%, don't you?
I think it's one of the, Birmingham's a fairly working class area.
Yeah, it is.
Always has been, always will be. And I think, people work hard all week. If you've been working at Rover all week, or wherever you've been working all week, or you're working at Cadbury's or whatever, and you come home, what you don't want to see is somebody on a Saturday tossing it off, for want of a better phrase, or been a bit limp. You want to see something having a right good go, look like they're working hard. They won't always get it right. We will lose games, but I think the majority of the fans will forgive most of your faults if you look like you're putting a shift in.
Definitely. If you could go back and replay one game that you ever played during your career, what game would that be?
Blues career or whole career?
Anything. Could even be at school.
That's a good question. What you mean, just to relive the moment again?
Yeah.
There'd probably be 2 then. There'd be one, obviously, I'll have to say that Lad and Daff on in 91, just because it was just a great day. I mean, I was 20 years old. We're playing at Wembley. The first time I'd been there for, it was only a Division 3 Cup, but it was a great day. And I think for most of the fans of our age and beyond, it was a really good day because it's such a good game as well.
Yeah, it was.
I wouldn't change a thing at how the game went because it made it a really exciting game. But then, for me, like 2 or 3 days afterwards, there was it was a great function at the Wembley Hilton afterwards, and I went out.
Today's episode is proudly sponsored by CarWow. Now, I might talk about cars a lot, but I'm not exactly known for my incredible parking ability. Honestly, I get lost in most car parks. Thankfully, though, I had a quick look on CarWow, watched some of the video reviews, and found out my dream car had the option for a top-down camera. It's basically a cheat code for getting into even the tightest spaces. I still need to work on finding the exit in the car park, but that's on me. Anyway, that was a deal breaker. I was sold, and CarWow helped me get a great offer without having to ring around and try and explain what I wanted multiple times. It was a huge bonus that I could sit and do it while I sat on the sofa because as much as I love a free coffee at a car dealership, I'm also quite a busy person. Changing your car can be quite a daunting experience. It can feel really complicated, and there's so much choice that sometimes feels a bit overwhelming. CarWow has taken all of that away. It's a car-changing destination with absolutely no agenda, great prices, and whether you're buying or selling, you can have everything you want without any stress. If you want your car change to feel life-changing, then CarWow is the solution. Car change. CarWow. T's and C's apply. See carwow.co.uk/verify for details.
We're BetMGM Sports and Casino. We know things aren't always golden. That's why we offer you the tools to keep your place safe. Set timeouts to always ensure you take a break when you feel like you need it. Set reality checks so you know exactly how long you've been playing. And set deposit limits to help control what you spend. Stay golden with BetMGM. Play responsibly.
18 plus.
Solely all the night after, and the fellow who used to own the Barley Mow was a top chap, but it was very much a pucker trousers and shirt. But I remember that, I think it was on the Sunday or the Monday night. Sunday night it might have been. There was actually Keep Right On was sung in there, and I thought, blimey, you know what I mean? So it was just one of those things that took everyone by surprise. It was a really good day, and the next day we had the civic reception. Yeah. You know, like my parents, my sisters, people like that were there. It was just a really good day. So I'd have that. Then also, I didn't score many goals, but played Northampton, played Bristol Rovers in a playoff semi-final. We were 3-1 down from the first leg, and we'd been battered. There were like Barry Hales up front. Ian Holloway was in charge of Bristol Rovers. Okay. And John Gale scored for us with about 5 minutes to go, but they pummeled us really, so we got out of jail, and we had to win the home leg, and 1-0 up, and then with about 20 minutes to go, I netted with a goal, and then we also scored again to win 3-0, and just for that, you know, because I'd scored many, so I'd scored, and we'd won, come back to get to Wembley. It was one of those feelings, you're like, oh, you know, I know how goal scorers felt. Yeah. So for me, I mean, you know, in terms of that sort of feeling, but actually, do you know what? I'd probably play all of the games again. Yeah. Some of them I'd try and play better in, but you know, that's just, you know, it's one of those things, we spoke about it earlier, you have 16 years, searching for that legal high, and you get it every Saturday, every Tuesday. Yeah, even if you lose, and you could never sleep after games whether you win or you lose. And there was some lows in there, highs and, but you still wouldn't swap it, because actually you're getting paid to do something that you enjoy doing, keep yourself fit, and when it's gone, cool, blimey, nothing's ever quite as good as it.
What would you say was your lowest low?
I remember once with Blues, actually. I remember a Friday night we got pummeled 5-1 at Tranmere. Yeah. It was a really... it could have been anything. And, I mean, that was a decent team that year, but I remember coming home from that thinking... I remember, I went for a walk in Jubilee Park, which is just down here, really late at night with the dog. I was still living at home then, because I was only about 19. And I was just thinking, you know, flipping heck, you know, if I tried to... You know, there were times like that, or, you know, or you might... Or, you know, pros and cons of playing for Blues. The pros were just clearly supported. You know, the cons were sometimes you'd go out and it was like no escape, is there? Because you would go to the pubs that your mates went to, and then, you know, and for whatever reason, sometimes you'd get cheated. But I think probably, you know, if you lost, it was a low. But as you got older, it became less of an issue. So less of an issue. Obviously, it still hurt with a bit.
You're more experienced.
More experienced at coping with it, and you could be a bit more. I mean, my favourite saying used to be, put the ball away on a Saturday night, because it would be like, okay, whatever's happened, I'm not going to spend 5 hours mulling over it. It's gone, and we'll think about it Sunday or Monday back at work. So I needed to have that sort of downtime. So for me, that was my sort of coping mechanism, whether it be going out, staying in. You know, when we didn't go out all the time, there's all these stories about boozing, and which is great, but it was always done at the right time. You'd never go out Thursdays or Fridays if you play. You'd never go out Sundays or Mondays if you're playing on a Tuesday, and there'd be some week you wouldn't go out for 2 to 3 weeks. So I think there was that culture of, because you didn't go out as often, you'd have a massive sort of blowout when you did.
But again, going back there to football, you know, that anger, that passion in football, you know, it needs to just be channeled. Yeah, we've seen so many players that just like see the red mist and lose it and get sent off. Yeah. But if you can channel that, don't take that aggression away from the player, because that makes that player, but just channel it in the right way.
Of course, I mean, you know, intimidation is part of football to a point. You know, not intimidation, but you know what I mean, like being aggressive, you know, putting yourself out there in the game, making the person you're playing against know that it's going to be hard for them. You know,
exactly.
And it should be a battle. It should be difficult. Yeah, and again that's a skill in itself. You know, the art of tackling, the art of challenging, having the courage and determination to receive that ball under pressure. You know, that's all having balls, really.
Who's the angriest player that you ever played with? Most aggressive player you played against?
Probably Gailey. It's got to be John Gale. Yeah, I think he's a scary man. I like Gailey because you know, he's a King's Heath lad. Yeah. You know, and he generally likes you if you're from Birmingham, so I was all right. But you know, when he lost it, Gailey, he was horrible. To be fair, it was. You know, I played obviously with him a lot of time, but in training, you'd think nothing. I remember once we were training and he wasn't in a particularly good mood. Yeah. Went for a header like as I went down, he gave me an almighty smash in my face. I was reeling. I looked at him. He went, "Just take it." And I looked at him and thought, to be fair, okay, then on this one occasion I'll just take it. But no, he was, but he was a good lad. So yeah, and you know, he was when he was angry, he was angry. Yeah, and he was just, you know, but you have to deal with those sort of challenges. But yeah, I can't think of many I'd have played against or with who'd have been able to take Gailey on.
Yeah. Your heroes? Who was your football heroes?
Blues fan. Frank Worthington and Colin Todd, pretty much as a young kid growing up. Started going in about 79 really properly. 78, 79 was my first season ticket. We got relegated. There you go. That's the Blues for you. But then, you know, so that era, Frank Worthington, Colin Todd, top class. I was a defender, so I used to love watching Colin Todd. And who didn't like watching Frank?
Would you like to have played against Frank Worthington?
I played with him in a testimonial game. His testimonial at the Blues, and how good was he? He was brilliant. I mean, he was probably 50 then. I don't know. As he was the year we got promotion. And to be fair, there were people ringing up saying, "Terry, it's Terry Cooper. Can you sign Frank, please?" Because to be fair, he probably was better than our strikers. That, but he was he was spot on. I'd like to have played with him. Yeah. I'm not sure I'd like to have marked him hugely, but I'd like to have played with him, yeah.
He certainly could make that ball sing.
Great player, wasn't he? I mean, and that's what people come to see. As you said, you come to see you've got your lay work horses like me, and then you've got your sort of artisans like Frank.
And then that goal that he scored for Bolton Wanderers.
Yeah, against Ipswich. That was a classic. I mean, he scored a couple of crackers against Forest for Blues when Shield was in goal. So, but back in the day.
But you were playing right back.
Yeah.
Who was the best left winger that you ever played against?
Probably, I'll get it in early, probably Ginola when I was playing for Stoke.
Oh, right, okay.
I got sent off after about 44 minutes against him, which did me a massive favour, to be honest, because he was tearing the arse out of me. So, Ginola was good. I played against, obviously, Giggs. Yeah. Lee Sharp played for Man U, but obviously Sharpie was at Blues with us. He was a good player.
Yeah. Let him go, didn't they, bro?
Do you know what, though? You can obviously, there was a lad called Ronnie Morris, who played a couple of games for the first team. He was the left winger, but he was at Lillishall. He was the England under 16 left winger. Yeah. And at the time, you'd probably say he was probably slightly ahead of Sharpie, so you can see why. Although looking back, you look at Sharpie's career and Ronnie's career, then you'd say, well, actually, we might have got that one wrong in the long run. But no, he was a good player, Lee Sharp. And then, another I've got to mention is Vialli. Played against Gianluca Vialli. Oh. He was unbelievable. I was playing centre half in the night, but just his runs were so energetic and powerful, and he sort of drop his shoulders to go one way, but his touch and his movement and his energy was something else. So they're probably the two best I played against.
And I suppose with them type of players, you'd like to kick them, but you couldn't get close enough, could you?
To fetch Ginola, he introduced me to diving for the first time in about 94. I think I was like, the one time I did get in the same postcode as him, he fell over, which is...
And for the modern game now, that is difficult, isn't it?
Look, I mean, there's so many things about the modern game that I do like. It's faster. The skill level's good. I enjoy watching it. So the two things that change is I would bring back safe standing if I could, because I think that makes the atmosphere better. And for me, diving is an absolute blight on the game. Well, since when I keep hearing this say now from pundits, there's contact. It's a contact sport. Yeah. Since when did contact mean you've got to fall over? It's not basketball. It's not a non-contact game. It's a contact sport. So if there's contact, by all means, it's a foul. Yeah, go down. If someone wants it, don't throw yourself down. That for me is that would be one of the. However, they're making there's these retrospective bans coming in, and good about time.
Because you've done a bit of journalism, didn't you, after your football career?
I wrote for obviously the Sunday Mercury, the Birmingham Post. I used to write for sort of other.
Yo, UK! At BetMGM, we give our players sports betting entertainment like nobody's business. Football, horse racing, darts, boxing, tennis, golf, NFL, NBA. You name it, we got it. Offers? You know it. Bet £10 and get £40 in free bets. BetMGM, it's showtime.
New customers only. Exclusions apply. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
I did some freelance stuff. So I wrote for about 5 or 6 years, really.
500 words with Kenny Cunningham. I remember that.
Cool, that was explosive stuff, wasn't it? Me and Sats had a really good chat with him in where was it? I think it was Starbucks in Seoul. We met him, and it was. Thank you very much, Kenny. So good stuff from Kenny. So, but that was probably the exceptions. It's really hard. Like we've spoken about the general sort of globalisation, the sort of sanitisation. It was getting harder and harder to ever speak to anybody. If you wanted to speak to a player, you turn up at a press conference, you get 10 minutes with the press officer there. It all became, we're going to win the next day. Really? Yeah. Tell me something I don't know. Yeah. So, and then, you'd be waiting until 2 in the morning, and someone's got a hat-trick, and they send out the right back to tell you, how good that player was who scored 3 goals. So, it became more and more difficult to get a story. But then again, there's so many media outlets now that I can understand to a point why it was. But for me, I enjoyed it for 5 or 6 years when I did it, but the pay's not great. And I could see the way it was going with the newspapers, and it's still going that way with newspapers, unfortunately. So it's a dying industry.
Sadly, it is, because we all have a lust for football. We all want to know what's going on in football. We like to have it written or watch it on Match of the Day or the outlets that we have. But so many times they have the headphones on, don't they? And they walk through the media, and it is a different beast. Players used to be closer in the olden days.
But I can't blame them, because from sort of the age of 6 or 7, they're taken away out of that sort of environment and told, and the demands on their time now would be greater. And you can earn as much cash as you want, but if you've got to give 50 interviews that are exactly the same, I suspect it gets a bit dull after a bit.
Yeah.
So, I can understand. When we were younger and we would go out to the pub, we were probably earning as much as the blokes at Rover were at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was a relationship there, and they could understand you probably a bit more, but I think generally footballers are still fine. Most of them are absolutely fine. They probably just live in slightly bigger houses. But you know what I mean? But generally, most of them will be absolutely fine. The ones I've met subsequently, I've met many who aren't decent blokes.
What player today would you go and spend, if you only had a ticket to go and watch any game this weekend, start the Premier League, what ground would you go to watch a certain player?
I would go and watch Birmingham versus Bristol City. I have this argument all the time with kids.
Premier League.
They always say, who's your I haven't got a second team, I want to watch Birmingham.
No, I mean a certain player.
Yeah, Birmingham. I just don't go watch Birmingham. I'd go and watch, because, for me, look, I mean, I'll watch football on the telly and all these sort of games, but, if it's about, if it's about, for me, I just want to watch Blues win.
Yeah, you're a bit like him.
I just want to watch. I mean, I know that sounds terrible. I want to watch. For me, that's what I was brought up. I'm watching Birmingham. I want to watch Birmingham win. So,
same as me.
I can watch my sort of. I can have me fit on the television. I can go and be a sort of put my coaching head on and say, look at the formation. But when I watch Blues play, I don't really want to know about formation.
You don't give a shit, do you? As long as you get 3 points.
Whereas if I go and watch other games, I can be a bit more dispassionate about it and watch it. And put on a sort of an ex-footballer's coach's head.
Well, Clarky, can I thank you so much for your time, mate? We've come to the end of it now, sadly.
Today's episode is proudly sponsored by CarWow. I'll let you into a secret. When I was looking for a new car at the start of the year, I really enjoyed the excitement of watching the offers come flooding in after I'd worked out what my perfect new motor would be. It felt like every time I looked at my phone, there was a better deal on the table. Who's not going to love that? And at the same time, I listed my old car on CarWow to find a buyer and free up some space on my driveway for the new one. No waiting around for people to kick the tyres and leave. No awkward negotiations over the price. Just a simple transaction, all from the comfort of my sofa. CarWow is free to use, and whether you're looking to buy a new car or sell your old one like I did, it's the hassle-free, all-in-one car-changing solution that puts you in the driving seat. Literally. Changing your car should be easy, and as I found out, quite a lot of fun. With CarWow, you can compare the latest in-market prices, honest reviews, and sort yourself a life-changing car change, all without having to leave your sofa. Whatever you choose, CarWow are here to help you do it. Car change. CarWow. T's and C's apply. See carwow.co.uk/verify for details.
Yo, UK! At BetMGM, we give our players sports betting entertainment like nobody's business. Football, horse racing, darts, boxing, tennis, golf, NFL, NBA. You name it, we got it. Offers? You know it. Bet £10 and get £40 in free bets. BetMGM, it's showtime.
New customers only. Exclusions apply. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.